Most players focus on aim and raw mechanics, but what if I told you that breaking certain habits can skyrocket your CS2 rank? Today, I'm revealing 12 habits that could be holding you back and how to fix them. I'm Louis, and in this video, we'll break down everything from smarter jump spotting and jiggle peaks to mastering crouch moves the donk way that throw off enemy sprays. We'll cover crucial tactics like when to break windows on T side, how to perfectly time your smokes as an anchor, and why never sticking the bomb inside a smoke could save your life. I'll also explain why your crosshair placement and utility usage might be sabotaging your plays with real examples that will help you make better decisions every round. Timestamps are below if you want to skip to a specific tip. Let's get into it.
Now, something you guys probably do a lot is just swing out and instantly die when you're trying to get some sort of information, and this is a really bad habit, especially if you're bad at jiggle peeking, where instead of just only showing your shoulder, some of you guys might overextend a little too much and die. Now, to fix this habit, something you guys need to incorporate is just simple jump spotting, and the reason why this is good is because when you're in the air like this, you're able to be elevated where the normal headshot angle is, and most of the time you're so fast around a corner like this that no one would actually be able to shoot you if you do strafes. Now, there's a lot of places on maps you can do this, like over here towards the B site, where if you're in a post plant and you know someone might be in market, instead of just trying to hit a jiggle peek like this, it's better to just jump the angle and try to spot inside a market door like this. And it's a very hard shot to hit because if someone's sitting here inside a market door and you do a jump like that, they're gonna have to flick up and it's going to throw them off completely and they won't even be able to hit you. Now, the speed of that strafe is a lot faster than just hitting a jiggle peek like this, so it's very good that you guys abuse that instead of getting punished when you try to jiggle out an opper, or if you just always try to wide swing for information to die. This is something you guys need to incorporate. So now, thinking about the same concept, you more advanced players can definitely do this a lot better, and that is jiggle before peeking. So if I know someone is trying to scale up on cat, something I could do is just hit a jiggle like this where I'm only showing my shoulder. And the reason that this is good is because this player on catwalk is going to see me, and if he is trying to scale and hold W, it's going to force him to stop to try to shoot me, and then that's when I would take the opportunity to swing, because in his mind, if he sees this jiggle right here, he's going to think I'm just going to back up and try to bait him. But in reality, you're just playing this huge mind game that he's not even thinking of, because he's going to have to press a bunch of keys, because chances are if he is also a noob, he's going to have W pressed as well, and he won't know how to just hit a 2-key strafe where he's trying to counter strafe with 2 keys. So this is just a total mind game move. Now, you can also do it in other positions as well, where if you know someone may just be holding you, like let's say there's a player in ramp, where you can just bait just one shot, or you can just jiggle and then swing even if he doesn't shoot, because once you jiggle, you're almost creating a timing inside of this player's head over here towards ramp, because now he's trying to think, is he going to peek me? Is he going to jiggle again? Where do I need to put my crosshair if I want to kill him? Because if he's jiggling, I want my crosshair close to try to get some damage, or maybe he's just going to try to wide swing me and he's holding me like this. So the best thing to do in a situation is literally just jiggle, and then you can hit a little crouch peek as well. But if you know that they do shoot a couple shots like this player here on cat, you know that they're totally frozen and their recoil reset is messed up. So when you hit this jiggle like this and they start to shoot, you can just swing out and kill them. Now, something that is very bad that I know a lot of you guys do is commit to crouch. Crouching is really bad inside of Counter-Strike, but there's a habit that you can form that will make it good. So what is bad about crouching is that if you are in a fight with someone, let's say I'm playing over here towards default and I just get swarmed from like a palace pop, something I don't want to do is just commit to my crouch and just try to spam. So you can see how slow I am like this, and it puts me at a huge disadvantage. But something else to note as well is that when you crouch, your hitbox is technically bigger than if it was if you were standing straight up, because when you're standing straight up, your hitbox is a lot thinner, and when you're crouched, you turn into a 300-pound person, which makes your hitbox larger. So something that you guys want to do is what a lot of the pros are doing now, is when they get in fights, what they do is they just simply tap crouch when they shoot. Now, what this does is it definitely throws off the hitbox of someone, because if someone is swinging ramp and they see me, they're going to be aiming at head level, and if I tap crouch, they're going to have to try to aim down and then recompensate with their spray, and it's going to totally just throw them off. So instead of just committing to crouch and trying to be this slow 300-pound person, what you want to do is just simply tap crouch when you're in these fights, and you can abuse it by just strafing back and forth and simply tapping, so then you have the advantage instead of just being a 300-pound person. Now, before I get into the next tip, let me tell you about SkinsMonkey. Is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade, and if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you, SkinsMonkey, for sponsoring this video. So now, something that I know a lot of you guys probably do is that if the bomb is planted and there is a smoke down on top of the bomb, if you are a CT, chances are you're trying to go for the ninja defuse. Now, this is really good if there's not a lot of time on the clock, but if there is a lot of time and you're in a 1v1 and you're able to smoke the bomb, something that you want to do is just tap the bomb bomb and then just simply just walk away from the smoke. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because if there is time on the clock, a lot of T's will first feel pressure from the smoke, and then you simply just tapping the bomb creates more pressure for them, so they're going to be making a lot of noise. Like, let's say the bomb was planted right here for market, and I somehow got here because the T's hiding, and I decide to smoke the bomb. I wait a little bit, and then I simply tap. If I just walk and try to find him, I don't see him in door. Maybe he starts spamming from window, and I can literally just walk up onto him and just come and swing and kill him. It even works on every single site inside of Counter-Strike when you do this, because the smoke on the bomb is a lot of pressure, and then the tap also creates more. Now, if the bomb is planted on a site, you might hear someone maybe try to jump spot, and this will give you a sound cue where he is, but most of the time, a lot of players will feel the pressure and try to spam where they planted, giving away their position, making you win the 1v1 very easily. Now, on Nuke, you guys should be breaking all of the windows out of spawn, and the reason you want to do this is because if you ever want to do a late execute towards the A site, it's very obvious that if you are sitting here just spotting A with like a molly out as a CT, if the windows aren't broken yet and you start to hear them break late, you obviously know that an execute is coming in because people are going to be trying to molly top hut, they're going to be flashing through the roof, and all these things come into play once the windows are broken. If you create the habit of running out of spawn and breaking the windows, you're going to have a higher success rate in your late round executes. So any CT that is the A anchor and is coming out of spawn, he can calm that he's hearing the windows break. Make sure you guys carry the A rush. Let's make sure we block door and block hut. They might decide to waste utility if they do hear those windows break, and then now they have no counter for your late round execute. But if you don't break any windows at all, a lot of good players will calm that they didn't break the A windows, and that pretty much tells them to look towards outside or even look towards ramp, because they don't really have to worry about anything fast or even worry about getting blinded by flashes that you could throw from spawn, like the Furia flash over here where you get close to the door and you run and it goes through the window. This is a very common flash with the fast windows broken, but if these windows aren't being broken out of spawn, if you are on T side, it just tells the CTs what's actually going to happen. Now, something about crosshair placement that is very important is where you're actually placing it. When a lot of people mention crosshair placement, they're talking about just aiming at head level and being able to clear angles, which I think is good, but a topic that a lot of people don't talk about is imagining where a player is, which will help you place your crosshair in better positions. So if I knew there was a player sitting here in Tetris, something that I would imagine in my head is that this player would be sitting here doing like these AD strafes, because this is the current meta inside of CS2. So I'm not going to be sitting here trying to pre-aim this guy, because if I do want to pre-aim, if he was strafing in and out, my crosshair could be off of him and then he could have the advantage in the fight because he's technically peeking me. So something that you guys want to do that I hear no one ever talk about is holding your crosshair out from the angle when you're clearing it, even when you are imagining a player. So when you're coming to clear him, you can see that even if my crosshair is off this wall, I'm still able to clearly snap to his head. Now, pre-aiming is good, but we want to think about the current meta inside of CS2. If you know this guy is just standing still, pre-aiming is definitely the right way to do this, but the current meta now that you guys should be following is just having your crosshair off the wall when you're trying to clear someone. Now, something you guys could do that could help you is if you go into your settings and change the size of your crosshair. This is something that I did that made me really good at Counter-Strike, and I would always have the edge of my crosshair like this on the edge of the wall no matter where I was. Now, depending on your res, you might want a longer crosshair or maybe a thinner or a bigger one, but something you guys can do is just hold the wall with the edge of your crosshair and then just swing to be able to kill someone. Now, something else with crosshair placement as well is you never want to hold a tight angle where you know someone is. You always want to make sure that you're holding wide enough for them to swing, and this is where also having the longer crosshair can help you, where you kind of just get used to resting the side of your crosshair on whatever angle you're holding, or maybe you know someone's about to swing you in jungle, you can just put the edge of your crosshair right here and easily just kill him without really thinking about where you need to put your crosshair, because you're just following the size of your crosshair, which is pretty much a good basic guideline. Now, something all of you noobs do is waste smokes, especially as an anchor. If you're anchoring on a site, you want to make sure you're holding your smoke as long as possible, and I have the tip that can break this habit. So on a map like Mirage, a lot of the times people will be playing for mid most of the rounds where they're smoking top, mid, or window, and they're making a lot of noise in mid, where your con or cat player or if your window player decides to break the window smoke, he gets a lot of info on what's happening. Now, since this all is happening, a lot of players like your lurch on the extremities aren't going to really be activating out of ramp or palace or even upper B, so you want to wait for a specific time, and what you should be looking for is the pause. After the T's do take mid, maybe they try to just scale up towards cat, or maybe they start to smoke top con. After they do this, there's normally a pause where they're kind of setting up for what they want to do in the round. So if I was sitting here on A site, I knew they just took mid, I'm still holding my smoke, and then that second progression starts to happen where they're smoking top con, or maybe they start to take ladder room. That's where I would want to use my smoke, because after they have this area of the map, there's something that is going to happen, which is the the third stage of the round, which will progress them into what is happening next. So maybe after the pause, they take mid, they're thinking we're over rotating. Someone in Palace will most likely try to walk out because they know that since they did just fight mid, a lot of people are going to be moving in this part of the map, especially if they did just take top con. So this would prompt this guy to walk out Palace or even try to walk out ramp. So my idea as the anchor is to simply just smoke off ramp so I can just focus over here towards Palace and try to punish this player. It's even over here towards the B side as well, where if you are jump spotting and you don't see anyone, you can obviously keep jump spotting. But the most important part of the B anchor is you necessarily don't ever want to smoke upper B unless they start taking ladder room, because you want to smoke this so you can get control of this part of the map. So if they do decide to scale up cat, they're going to be looking for you on site and you can just blindside anyone trying to run up. Now, something important that is a huge pet peeve of mine is that if you have one of the two best mid spawns on Mirage, something that you don't want to do is instantly swing mid, even if there's a instant window smoke. This happens so many times in my games, and I want you guys to really understand and break this habit where you're not waiting for smokes, where if you do have these two best spawns for mid, please wait for 1 to 2 seconds in top mid and listen for the instant window smoke to land. Because if I decided to smoke instant window from right here and I had a player over here with the best spawn, if he decided to run out all the way towards mid without waiting it to bloom, he would be swinging before it even pops and he would instantly die, totally neglecting that we even decided to smoke window. So when you guys do play Mirage and you are trying to get out mid, please make sure that you guys are waiting for the instant window smoke so you guys can actually take mid. Now, we talked about saving smokes as anchors, but not only do you want to block certain parts of the maps later into the round, it's also important to note that if there really is no pressure, you want to save your smokes to disrupt. Like for example, on A site, if I knew they were coming out A and I did save my smoke, I could just bank a smoke off this wall right here, and this is going to be a huge disruption smoke because any T's trying to come out A, they see this smoke, they know that it's really hard for them to take site, and their pathing is going to be messed up where they may not even decide to go take CT anymore, and they may try to relocate and try to take this part of the map. Even over here towards B, a lot of you guys know the most common smoke that anchors will throw. If they spot someone, they decide to throw this bench smoke here. It's the same concept on every site, on every map, where it's important to save a smoke to just be disruptive as well. Even if we think about Ancient, if they start executing A and you're inside of Link, right inside a donut, something you can do is just drop a lurk smoke so it totally neglects their pathing and they have to decide how they actually want to take the site after they already executed. So when you guys are saving your smokes, try to get creative and try to think how you can be disruptive towards the T's executes when it is coming in. Now, wasting utility is by far the worst habit I think a lot of newer Counter-Strike players have. So you want to make sure that when you are using utility, you use it with care and with purpose. So instead of just being this A ramp lurk and maybe your team wants to go B, you just throwing a flash like this and running away is such a waste of utility, because any smart player would know, especially since I'm an A anchor, if I saw this flash and nothing happened, I would tell my team that they just threw a getaway flash and be ready for B, because if people are just throwing random flashes and nothing is happening, they clearly are just trying to distract. It's the same thing over here towards mid, or if they want to fake anything towards mid and there's just two flashes that are just thrown and that's it, we obviously know that they aren't taking mid, because there's a lot more protocols that come into play when you're trying to flash for mid. So if there is just two flashes, you know it's just one person, and chances are they aren't even going out at all, which could prompt my con player to even try to peek over here towards mid to get this info, and then now we know that it's going to be an extremity hit. So make sure when you guys are throwing utility, there is purpose, and if you are trying to fake something like a mid play, make sure you guys are using at least 3 flashes to really sell that there is more than one person in this part of the map.